Much of the spine in this country right now is coming from women. Specifically, young women are starting to assert themselves. And in the progressive space, I mean, it is more evident than anywhere else. Of course, we have our four leaders, Ilhan, Omar, Alexandria, Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida, Tlaib, and Ayanna, Pressley, who's been really pushing things beyond where the speaker, beyond where the establishment wants it to be. And for that, they're taking blows from all sides, the presidency, the party establishment, as well as the media. It seems like the media just can't realize that just maybe the polls may be right. America is a progressive country, while the media, under the auspices of its handlers and the establishment, are trying to somehow attenuate what is really about to break out. It's interesting because as these changes occur, the media itself has been complicit in trying to maintain the status quo. In other words, they are the window to everybody else. And if the window has the same picture, just maybe people would stay or accept the status quo. Well, you know, today was an interesting day. I actually called today Zerlina Maxwell Day because a pundit on MSNBC, the purported progressive station, finally made the necessary statement that stopped the whataboutism, that stopped the false equivalency. And I want you to listen to this.
Two of these four members explicitly said, go forward with impeachment at this press conference. You've got Democrats who are looking for Democrats there in Congress saying, how do we respond to this? We had Leanne reporting saying that they have this idea of coming up with a resolution. Does this create new momentum among Democrats there in the impeachment direction?
You know, it's funny, Steve, because as I was listening to them, particularly to Ayanna Pressley, when she says, we're not going to take the bait, we're going to talk about prescription drugs and fixing our immigration system. To me, I was hearing Nancy Pelosi saying, this is how you do it. You know, don't take the bait, don't get distracted, focus on the issues, focus on the policy. That's why we're here. So that, to me, was very Nancy Pelosi. But then when Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib came out and said impeachment, I was like, nope. That's when they are once again defying their speaker and insisting on this very large audience that this is the only resolution. So it is a very double-edged sword here. It was an endorsement of unity. It was an endorsement of moving forward with the issues that got these guys elected. But it was very clear from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib that no, they are not going to take that off the table whatsoever, no matter what Nancy Pelosi wants.
And it seems, Zerlina, there's always that dilemma, whether it's a Republican opponent of Trump, a Democratic opponent, any opponent. When he starts getting personal, when he starts saying the kinds of things that we heard him saying earlier today, how do you respond to that? Do you try to elevate yourself and make him look really small? Mm-hmm. And I was picking up that it seemed, certainly with Ayanna Pressley, that's what I sensed she was trying to do. I sensed Ocasio-Cortez was trying to do that. Or do you come back at him just as hard? And it sounded like Omar perhaps more had that instinct.
What did she say that was a personal attack on the president? I don't see impeachment, just to be clear, as a personal attack on the president. That's their constitutional obligation to hold this administration accountable for perceived crimes, which were outlined in the Mueller report. She didn't come out and call the president names. She didn't call out and say he should go back to the country with which his parents immigrated from. She didn't talk about his family. And so I think that we have to be careful when we say that they're, not necessarily rising to that level of Ayanna Pressley, when none of them attacked the president personally. None of them called out his patriotism. What I saw today was 4 patriots come out and represent.
Well, I should say, Omar said he had colluded with a foreign government.
That was the Mueller report, Steve. It was in the Mueller report.
The
Mueller report says this. So to be clear, we all read it. It didn't say that he said he was not going based on the definition of collusion under criminal statutes. But there were absolutely crimes outlined in the Mueller report. And if we're using just the specific definition of collusion, there was plenty of examples where there was collusion, but not criminal conspiracy.
We can put this aside for another time, but I think just tonally, I would say there was a difference there.
I don't think so. I think that's actually a perception thing. I did not hear the same thing that you did, so maybe that's just a difference of opinion. I did not hear anything personal in terms of attacks.
I'm not saying personal. I'm not saying personal. What the point I was trying to make there, and the difference I was trying, and if we heard it differently, we heard it differently. But what I heard was when you said patriotism wasn't questioned, it certainly did sound like with Omar when she said he had credible evidence that he had colluded with had been accused of colluding with a foreign government. I took that as going after patriotism a little bit there. We can debate what exactly is in the Mueller report on that.
She was questioning his patriotism. That is just outlining facts which were documented in the Mueller report.
Susan.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there. Of course there is. Tonality versus fact. When Kornacki had to resort to tonality when presented with facts, that tells you something. When Kornacki thought that Ilhan Omar, how can Ilhan Omar question the president's patriotism? It's amazing how, folks, close rank. Zerlina Maxwell did the right thing. Zerlina Maxwell presented a case for all of America to see, and in the process of doing that, showed exactly how the media operates, how the media changes the rules depending on who exactly we're speaking about.